magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Good afternoon. And before we start the Q&A, the President of SBP has a statement to read. Okay? So, Alpan Lilio.
Thank you, Chairman Ricky. Commissioner Willie, salamat. Governor Francis Chua, of course, Coach Tim Con, and to the media. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. I'll just read it para mas klaro na lang, no? Okay, on September 23, the curtains will rise at the Hangzhou Olympic Sports Expo Center in Hangzhou, China, for the 19th Asian Games, with 45 nations participating, including the Philippines, and 482 events offered. Against this backdrop and a sense of urgency, officials of the Sumahang Basketball ng Pilipinas and the Philippine Basketball Association met last Monday at the Diamond Makati Residences to discuss Gilas Pilipinas' participation in the quadrennial meet. Mindful that time is of the essence for a competitive team to be assembled, no minute was wasted to persuade the PBA's winningest coach, with the intervention of San Miguel Corporation President CEO Ramon S. Ang, to reconsider his early position and handle the national team. It is in the spirit of service to the country, the same moving force that brought together the corporate world's Ramon Ang and SBP Chairman Emeritus Manny V. Pangilinan to merge their strengths of business and sports that Barangay Ginebra coach Tim Con agreed. Joining Coach Tim at the Gilas Pilipinas bench for the Asian Games are SMC Sports Director Al Francis Chua as team manager and PBA Commissioner Willie Marcial as deputy team manager. Serving as Gilas assistant coaches are Richard De Rosario with Jong Chico, and L.A. Tenorio completing the coaching staff. The continued partnership between the SBP and the PBA with the concurrence of the league's team owners and Board of Governors has given impetus to a renewed collaboration specifically for the Asian Games. But it is aimed at further benefiting Philippine basketball as a whole. MVP and RSA stand in the forefront of the noble ambition to bring back the glory days of the sports Filipinos love the most. Both the SBP and PBA are right there with them. In closing, while we may have fallen a bit short of our expectation in the FIBA World Cup, I believe Gilas Pilipinas battled and fought well till the end of the group phase campaign. The team never gave up. It's never say die spirit, unwavering to the last. It is a firm personal belief now, this Gilas Pilipinas team joining to Hangzhou 2 weeks from now will never give up as well. It is written all over them. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
Bago mag-question and answer, nagpapasalamat muna kami in behalf of the PBA sa mga team owners na pinayagan yung mga players, yung sakripisyo sa Board of Governors namin na sinamahan kami dito. Maraming salamat. At sa inyo, lalo sa kayo sa mga media na konting panahon lang nandito kayo. Maraming salamat. So, magsisimula na tayo ng question and answer.
Give her a mic so everybody can hear.
So, Coach, congratulations. I know it's a tough job, and it's hard to follow the Asian Games, being at the helm of the Asian Games after the World Cup. What were the considerations? How did you come out to this decision? How did you agree? Because you had earlier said that if Coach Chot steps down, that you would also as well. And then I wanted to get part two, if you could give us your thoughts on the World Cup and when you're going to start training.
That's a lot of questions.
Okay, just the first one, then it's okay.
First of all, let me just say, I did this once before in 1998, and I think I sat at the same table in 1998, and there was like 5 press guys here to announce it, and maybe 1 camera. It's amazing how things have grown since that time, 1998. And that's, believe it or not, 1998 is very, very strong on my, it's always in my mind all the time, because that was such a hard undertaking at that time. And to come here and do it again is kind of takes my breath away. But yes, I think I should make it clear that I joined the World Cup team aside from the obvious, giving back to the country in which I've grown up in, giving my family, giving my livelihood, my wife, my kids. That's always the number one thing why you serve your country. But aside from that, it was number one was to serve my friend, who was the head coach, Chot Reyes. That was my number one. He asked me, and I wanted to serve my friend. And number two, I wanted to have that experience and growth in terms of, being a part of the World Cup and seeing the World Cup and watching all the other coaches coach and being with these super talented players that we had and the players we were playing against. So it was really a growth experience for me as well. It was never my intention, as I think a lot of assistant coaches want to be the head coach eventually. It was never my intention to come in here and want to be the head coach. But given the time frame of only 2 weeks before we play, the preparation time, and so when Coach Al and the other Coach Al came in and spoke to me, it was we needed someone right now. So basically, I've done it, and I talked to Chot, and he gave me his blessing. I was the one I was most embarrassed for, because I didn't want to follow Chot, but he gave me his blessing. He told me that he felt I was the best guy for the job, so that's given me confidence to step up and do it. And these guys have been behind me all the way. Of course, Boss, RSA, and MVP, they have also said really nice things, and so I just really feel everybody has my back on this. And so if everybody has my back, I feel like there's a chance that we can succeed, despite the fact that we're only 2 weeks away, despite the fact that we're not going to be able to have the intact team of the World Cup, which I felt had great chemistry towards the end. I thought Chot developed great chemistry with that team, and I felt if we could keep that team together, we'd really make some big noise in the Asian Games. I don't know if people could match up. We would lose Jordan, of course, but we would get Justin. But I think that we could just keep right on moving. However, that's not the way it's going to be. We're going to have to kind of form a new team and get 2 weeks to go out and do it. But the key is that, again, I've got great backing behind me. This guy was calling me literally every 6 minutes yesterday. I mean, I shouldn't say this. I'm not even sure if he knows, but I was playing golf with Austin Reeves of the USA team and some of the US guys, and I was playing 9 holes, and I'm literally about ready to putt. Ding! Guy, I get on the next shot, ready to hit. Ding! Again. I mean, he was literally calling me every 6 minutes for like 3 hours. It was amazing. And he was like, it's all about, we're going to get this guy, we're going to get that guy, we can't get this guy, can't get this guy. So just the work that he put in right off the bat was amazing.
Yesterday.
Was it yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah.
Monday night?
I think it was Monday night, yeah, Monday night.
We got a meeting.
So it's today. Today's Thursday, yes. They talked to me Monday night, Monday evening. We have absolutely no idea yet. So we're still working on it. Still working on it. The ones we know that are not on it, may I say? We know that Kai's not going to be on it, AJ, all the guys from Japan, Dwight, they're not going to be able to make it. The guys from Korea are not going to be able to make it. So that's like 6 or 7 players right there that we've tried to replace, in a minimum. No, I'm just a interim coach at this point. I think that if you remember back in 2019, we had the World Cup, and then the Southeast Asian Games were, yeah, SEA Games were coming up, and they asked me to do it, and I did it in interim with the idea that after the games, they'd have a longer time to explore and try to find the right guy. So at this point, I'm just the interim. I'll go through the Asian Games and then give the SBP time to really explore and figure out the direction in which they want to go and the person they want to lead that thing. And I'm very, very good with that. I think that's the proper way to explore this whole thing. Go through it.
Yeah, I think first of all, thank you, Tim, for really agreeing to this. It was Monday night, but I think Francis Chua called it Tim, but he said, think about it, but called back again in 6 minutes. And then said,
He did call back.
make a decision. And he already said yes by then. Because I think what he said was, we have...
You were supposed to give me the next day, and he called me back like an hour later.
As what Tim said, I think we're all behind him. The people on this table are all behind him, and we're putting all resources we can to obviously support these Asian Games. But yeah, that is the agreement, Paulino. It's really for the Asian Games. I think after the World Cup, after we sort of do a debrief also on what's happening in the World Cup, and the Gilas is maybe 15-20% of what the effort of the SBP during these last 3 weeks, right? So from the National Congress to the World Cup, really, Gilas is 15, at most 20% of the effort done by the team. So, and again, I'd like to publicly thank the 221 individuals in the LOC, the 1,000 volunteers that you see. I think you've experienced the games this last few weeks, and I think we have to debrief after that and also take a look at longer term what will be the program for the national team. We need to start preparing we've qualified for the OQT next year. I've asked to be an observer on the central board meeting on Saturday. They're calling their first FIBA Central Board meeting on Saturday with the new board, and I think it will be discussed there. I think 4 OQT events next year, closer to the Olympics. I think that's about 2 weeks or 3 weeks before. And those, like similar to what we did in 2016, where we hosted the OQT here, the champion of each of those 4 OQTs qualify to the Olympics. But obviously, after this World Cup, there'll be 8 teams that have qualified, and 4 teams for the OQT. But the OQT will be very difficult, as you know, because a lot of the countries that have not joined the World Cup, have not won in the World Cup, are going to be part of the OQT. So this is going to be a tougher road for that. But June is, again, not too far away. But I hope you give us a bit of time to really debrief and understand and plan out what will be the next step for the SPP beyond the Asian Games. But again, Tim, thank you for being pressured. No, I mean, Tim was all out also, and he knows that we're all behind him. Thank you.
Does this mean that the Hangzhou Organizing Committee already approved the appeal of the POC to have our lineup changed?
I mean, everybody on this table have been talking to a lot of people. With Bambol last night, Ricky Vargas, I know, as Chairman Ricky has been talking to Bambol also. So we are doing everything we can. We're still actually discussing also the team composition, and I know there were names that were submitted. They've asked for names as early as 2 months ago. I mean, that's a problem, right? So also talked to FIBA Asia SecGen Hagop, who's part of the basketball committee, I think, of the Asian Games, and I did tell him that we will be appealing for some changes, players and even coaches in the initially submitted list, and he just said that please submit it as soon as you can, and they will review it. I hope they approve it, right? So.
Can I add something? I think it's important that the public knows. I know that we all know as basketball, but I think it's important that the public knows is that the Asian Games is not a FIBA-sponsored event. So the teams in Japan and the teams in Korea are not obligated to release their players. The players are national players for the Asian Games. They're only obligated to release them for FIBA-sponsored events like the qualifiers, the FIBA Asia, World Cup. But the Asian Games is not. They're not obligated. And it's not that those guys don't want to play. Edu would love to play. Dwight would, all those guys. Kai would love to play, but it's their other teams are not allowing them to play, and they're not going to, they're not obligated to give it to us. So that's the issue. It's kind of like I was talking to actually Coach Spolstra last night in terms of like we're like Lithuania. Like Lithuania and Estonia, when we were there playing, we were talking to the coaches, and they were complaining for themselves because they can't keep their players in their Lithuania league. As soon as they get good, Spain calls or Greece calls, so they end up flying over to and playing there, and they don't play in their own league, in the Lithuania league. And so they come back only for the national team. All those Lithuania players don't play for Lithuania in their league. They all play for in EuroLeague, everywhere else. And we're the only Asian team that's like that. And it's actually an honor because everybody wants our players. But you don't see, China letting players to Korea or China or any other country. So we have our guys that are being, just like Lithuania, we're losing players to Japan, losing players to Korea. And so we don't have control of those players. And the Lithuanian guys were complaining about the same thing. In certain tournaments, they can't get those players because they're busy in the Euro Cup. So they can't always have them for their national team. So that's the kind of the what we're into right here. So now it's going to come down to the commissioner and allowing us to grab all of his players and pull them out, and that's tough for the league as well. Tough for the teams because they're all preparing for the conference. We're preparing. Never starts practice on Monday. Teams have been practicing, so it really hurts the team for us to pull these guys out suddenly and make them play in the Asian Games. It's a big sacrifice, big sacrifice for the players and the teams.
So again, I'd like to thank really also the owners and the governors of the PBA, for really supporting the national team again in this Asian Games. So maraming salamat.
Hi, Coach.
I'd like to add to that from a PBA perspective, kung pwede lang. We needed to have a board meeting, and it was a special emergency board meeting because we knew that if we were going to commit to the Asian Games, it can be a pass or a fail for the PBA. So there were a lot of risks that we had to take a look at. If you see this particular Gilas team, this is a PBA team. This is coached by a PBA coach, and the governor of Ginebra is going down and saying, "I will sit in the bench to be the team manager." And the commissioner of the PBA has also said that I will sit as an alternate team manager. So the PBA is all in. So if we fail, it's high risk for the front, from not only for us personally, but also for the PBA. But when the board discussed this, we were just single-minded about it. Kung hindi tayo kikilos, sino pa? At kung hindi tayo gagalaw, di wag na lang tayo magpadala ng team sa sa Asian Games. Isn't that running away from a risk or a responsibility because you are afraid to fail? The PBA has never been afraid to fail. This bunch of good governors have not been afraid to fail. We were not afraid when it was COVID, and we're not afraid today, especially for a good cause, which is the Philippine team. So on that note, I'd like to really thank everybody who's here. The PBA group, we had a 2-hour meeting talking about the risks and the benefits of this. And they decided 100%, let's go for it. So that's what the PBA is facing today. And I know it's not going to be kind. As Tim said, we were 12 in that room. We were probably 12 coaches as well. So it's not going to be kind. It's 100 million people, Filipino people, maybe what, 50% are basketball, who will watch us, who look at us. And you know who's at risk? Everybody. But more at risk is the people that sit on the bench. And that's Al Francis, that's Commissioner, and that's the rest of the team on this table, and those seated there. So, wala, isa lang. When we started talking about it, isa lang. If we don't do it, who will? And we'll do it specifically for the Philippines. And guess what? If you don't want to play and you're invited because you don't come on time, then you're out. Okay? I learned that from Tim. Says we want, and just talking to Al this morning, just now, he was telling me, let's just get people who want to play, who have their heart for the team, and that's what we're going to do. And guess what? Most of the PBA player want to play for the PBA. So, yun yung totoong rason. I think that was Sunday when everybody was rejoicing because we won. We were planning. We were getting together and said, what's next? Because all of a sudden, it just, wala na eh. Wala na because we were all happy. That's it. So, this group of people here got together and started talking. And in less than, 30 minutes? Yeah. We knew what we wanted to do because we had the same thinking. And we got the board together, and happily they have the same thinking. So that's all on the PBA side.
If I may just add to that, my appeal lang to our media friends, no, and I guess this is a coming together, as Ricky said, of the basketball, Philippine basketball here in front of you. But I'm seeking all your help, no, that you also be part of this unified effort to do well in the Asian Games, or to do our very best in the Asian Games. Tulong-tulong tayo dito para sa bayan naman natin to.
Okay. Coach Tim and Sir Al, I think everyone's itching to ask na rin. What's the latest status with Justin Brownlee?
Who's asking?
Hi, sir.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Right, sorry. Good question. I spoke to him. He's recovering still from his surgery, but he's back on the court. And he wants to play. He will play in the Asian Games. And we were assuming he's going to be 100% as long as there's no setback from what he's going on right now. But, yeah, obviously we really need him. And, he makes people around him better. So if we can get him there, he will make the players around him better. I really looking forward to seeing him on that stage. But just hoping that he's 100%. But even if he's 98, 96, or 95, he's still just a huge help. So hopefully he'll be 100.
I saw him last night in the game. He was sitting beside us, and he's ready to go. He said this. I don't know whether it surprised him that they said it's going to be Tim coaching. He didn't know. So I said, if that comes out before this press conference, I knew it came out from him. So, but I did tell him that he's going to be Coach Tim, and he said he was ready to go.
Hello, yan. Sir Al, of course, time constraints, the games start in 16 days. What would be your, the deadliest deadline for submitting the lineup or announcing the lineup?
Well, we submitted the lineup nga 2 months ago, di ba? We had a pool
yeah.
of,
I mean,
I don't
the-
know how many names, 60 names.
Yeah.
I think they're finalizing the lineups now. Typically, it's just a few days before the tournament, but I have to double check with the POC. I don't know, Willie, if you're aware when the deadline is, but about 3 to 4 days before. FIBA normally it's 2 days before the tournament.
Yes. But for purposes of informing the media, when would you announce the lineup?
I think there's a deadline I know they discussed it during the board earlier. Chairman Ricky was saying earlier that people who are not there by Monday, 3 p.m. in practice, will not be part of the team. So I think by Monday we'll have sort of a sense of, maybe but Tim can answer that.
If I may add, there are two issues on the lineup. The first issue is there's a long list of players that has been submitted. And the second issue is we have a new coach, right? He said to us, and I appreciate that very much, we have two different, I'm not Chot, and Chot is not him, and they have two different appreciations and approach to the game. But he also said it could have ended up the same way. It's amazing, this guy, when he talks. Then he needs some players that are not in the long list. So you get that? If he needs some players, a few of them who are not in the long list. And he has a rationale for it, a very clear rationale for it. And we're fighting very hard to get those players to be able to change that list. We're fighting very hard. Second issue is after the games and we won, everybody just left, right? So they all went on vacation. Some were convinced to come back, and some are still having a tough time coming back. So that's all. But again, how long do we have to wait for them? That's the question, because finite yung time, di ba? You sabi, it will start our first game is on the 17th. That's very finite. It's not that we can do this until December. So I think the decision of the manager, the coach, and the deputy manager is to say that let's put a deadline, which is Monday. That's the best we can do. Okay. Then the other principle is, I don't want to start with 6 people. So why not start at 5 o'clock? Why not start at 5 o'clock today? Why not start practice? You don't want to do that. You don't want to start with 5 people. You want to start with a team. So that team will probably show up, hopefully, God willing, and with your help, to encourage them to show up and play for country. They will show up on Monday. And then that will be Tim's team. That will be the Philippine team.
I just want to add that we don't really have, we only have 2 weeks, so we don't have a time to put a pool together and, 18 guys and try out all these guys and see who's going to mix. We've really got to be right on point, because we only have 2 weeks. We got to be right on point. The idea is to pick 12 guys immediately and go with those 12. And so we're not coaching a whole bunch of different guys. We can hone in on the guys that we want. So we're looking truly at just 12 players to show up to practice. And that's basically my decision. I mean, we could get more, but it's just going to be more magulo in terms of cutting players and teaching extra guys. With the shortened time, I think we're just going to gamble that these 12 of the guys are going to fit. They fill out the positions, and we're going to go with them. But we still don't know who those 12 guys are yet. We're still piecing it together at this point. I mean, obviously, the usual suspects are going to be there. Jumar, Scotty, Japeth, the usual suspects. But we're trying to fill out the gaps where Kai was, where Edu was, where Ramos was, where Kiefer was. We're trying to fill out the gaps of those guys that are missing. And those are the gaps that we're still looking for.
So you mentioned earlier who are definitely not going to go, the B League players, the playing the Korea,
Right.
and Kai, obviously.
No UAAP or NCAA players also.
Okay, so are you going to be able to share with us who are the 12 that you're going to invite? So you are going to invite just 12?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to put together right now. We have some confirmations. We're probably about 8 or 9 deep right now, but we have some guys that are still out of town. Can they get back in time? And we're still working those things out. So we don't have a firm 12 right now.
Okay,
We
so
don't.
earlier you mentioned Justin Brown will be in Chapeth, Junmar.
And Scotty.
And Scotty.
Those are the usual suspects.
Okay.
I don't. Beyond that, I'm not sure if we're ready to release all the names yet because we just don't have it all together.
I wanted to ask, yeah, go ahead.
That was also a discussion because we thought you would ask for a partial list, a full list, a list on Monday, a list was coming on Thursday, and all that. That's fine. So we announced them as our team, not the first five, not the
To get like 15 players, 18 players. That we have to cut them or to make a pool, hindi na. Oras talaga. We need to get 12. Actually, we want tomorrow. But the thing is calling them. So Junmar is in for sure. Okay. And Brownlee is in. And actually, si Scotty alis dapat eh. He's going to Japan. And Japet is leaving also. Si Junmar, when I called him, kakaland lang sa Cebu. I told him to come back. So actually, pabalik na siya dapat for the practice tomorrow. But Tim told me to do it on Monday. And, we're going to sacrifice a little bit because the players will sacrifice. Kakatapos lang ng World Cup, ito na naman, di ba? So what we did was our players from San Miguel, Ginebra, and Magnolia, kung sino man makukuha doon, after the Asian Games, even though malapit na yung PBA, we're gonna give them 10 days. They can do whatever they want. They can go wherever they want. Kapalit yung sacrifice na gagawin nila for Asian Games. And,
Yeah. I just have a follow-up for Al or anyone. I'm just curious, in the planning for the World Cup and the Asian Games, was the Asian Games composition not already decided beforehand? Or is it that the list, because I'm sure that you had thought about the World Cup and the Asian Games knowing that it was so close. And was the list that was submitted to the Asian Games Organizing Committee, was that the list? And were those players confirmed or they backed out or what? Or was it really that you were going to decide after the Asian Games? Just curious.
I think start with that main list that we gave was 60 odd names 2 months ago. I think that was, we just made it, we tried to put everything. The of names as part of the 60 that I think that's what we're trying to work on today. Maybe there are a few names there that I think that what Chairman Ricky referred earlier that Tim might want. Clear?
I'm just wondering, like, did those players commit? Like, were they already spoken to before? Or was it really going to be the decision made after the World Cup?
Yes.
Look, this is, everybody's asking about the list, right? The list of players. No one knows that Chot will step down. And he's the one who wrote all the players that he wants. Now we got a different coach. Different style, different. So yung mga ibang player, wala dun. Okay? Even though they're committed. We got some, I think half, right? They got players from UAP, NCAA. And you cannot borrow them now because the opening of UAP, this is coming September. So,
Why were they put in? Why were their names put in?
I don't know. Tanong mo dun sa naglagay.
They were told, I remember I was there with Chad, I got one.
Oh, sorry.
Excuse me. I was there, and the idea is that they had, this is 2 months or almost 3 months before. We were in Lithuania at the time when they suddenly got the word that we had to submit a bunch of names for the Asian Games. And we're like, we're 3 months away. How do we know, who's going to be available? So I never saw the list, but they just said they just put everybody in. People from UAP, people from NCAA, people from Korea, people from Japan, people from PBA. It was like just a real long list. And they figured at some point we're going to have to pick 12 of those guys. It included Jordan Clarkson, it included Justin, it included Kai Soto, it included everybody. But when it came down to when the Asian Games is playing, after the World Cup, the UAAP NCAA moved their season to after the World Cup, so it interferes with the Asian Games. PBA moved their season till after the World Cup. And then Japan is starting up now, and Korea is starting up now. So the Asian Games is really causing havoc for us. That's what I was trying to explain earlier. Us as a country, because our players are playing overseas. But for China and Japan and all those guys, they still keep their World Cup teams intact. So we're the ones that are battling this issue.
Yeah, and I guess we found out Sunday that we'll have to go a different direction, right?
So you weren't expecting Chot to step down?
But we never really spoke about it, right?
I had no idea.
That's a good question. Chairman.
And he had said in the press conference that he was resigning. It's the first time I heard it.
Yeah, so from what you've heard so far, you can see the difficulty of forming this team now. No, so many factors that have affected the formation of this team. And as Chairman Ricky said earlier, who will pick up the pieces? No, and that's why the PBA together with SVP, we would like to really express our gratitude to Coach Tim here for taking up the challenge. These are not ideal conditions that we are seeing now, and with the leadership of Governor Al Francis here, we can be sure of is whatever composition the team will be, I think we can assure you that it will be a fighting team.
Coach, question, follow up on the lineup. How about the other World Cup guys like Pogoy? Are they also in consideration, as well as the
For sure.
players, Nusam, and other players
For
in the
sure,
pool?
for sure. Yeah, we just don't want to release the whole 12. But yeah, basically whoever's left in the World Cup is going to be part of this team.
And then, Coach, will the team have how everyday practice? How will be the
Yeah,
practice?
I hope so.
Every day.
We only got 2 weeks, so we're going to spend some time in in the Inspire camp, and where we can do 2 to 3 practices a day for the time that we were there to make up for some of the time. Yeah, that's on to the preparation already, and but that's the plan. We already have a schedule in the Inspire camp, and so we've got 5 or 6 days there. We'll be getting about, hopefully, at least 10 to 12 practices there.
Coach, is Ange Kwame also in consideration, and will there be multiple, what do you say, naturalized players in the...
We only have 2 at the moment. I mean, unless Jordan wants to come back, wouldn't that be great if Jordan came back and played? No, he's in training camp in the NBA. So the good news is that Watanabe in Japan is also in training camp, so he won't be there. The NBA guys won't be in their respective teams. Kyle Anderson won't be with China. So we'll be in equal footing there. But we're lucky we have a great naturalized player in Justin, that's going to join us. And yes, Ange Kwame, he has an issue with a team in Europe that he's looking to sign with. But we're hoping and thinking that he should be available for us for the Asian Games.
Coach Tim and Coach Al, question po for the two of you. I'm just checking on the status of Jamie. After he hurt his back, I think he missed one of the games in the World Cup. So is he still in the running for the Hangzhou roster? Thank you.
I spoke to Jamie day before yesterday, and it looks like he will beg off from the Asian Games. He still has a lot of soreness. If I may just say, I was part of this whole experience the last 4 months, 3.5 or so, that we went to Lithuania, we went to China, we were in Inspire camps. We were doing practicing just all of the time. It was very, very wearing for the players. And, we were really happy that we were able to beat China. And obviously we had a sour taste in our mouths from the fact that we had an opportunity to beat Dominican Republic. If Jordan doesn't foul out, JC doesn't foul out, who knows? That game was going right down to the stretch, and that might have changed the whole World Cup experience right there. So we have that sour taste in our mouth, definitely. But there was a great euphoria coming out and playing the way we played against China was the way we envisioned that team to play all the way through. But it took Kai a while to get to get his legs underneath him and start playing well. It took JC, 3 or 4 games to get a feel for the game and all that stuff. So, it could have very easily been different, and so that's why we have still that sour taste in our mouth. And that's why I keep saying, and people don't believe me, but that's why I keep saying I thought Chut did a tremendous job. The preparation all the way through Lithuania and Estonia and China, keeping that team together, keeping them motivated. I thought he developed great chemistry all the way through that. The chemistry changed, obviously, when you get, a guy as good as Jordan Clarkson on your team or Kai Soto. Things started to change a little bit, but he still kept it together. And that's why I keep telling him, if we could keep that team together, we have a great future in international basketball. We really do. Our problem is keeping that team together. We don't have those things under our control. And so you deal with what you can control, right? You can't deal with things you can't control. So these Japanese guys that we would love to have, they're out of our control. The Koreans, the UAAP, we'd love to have them. We feel we could form a really nice, strong team and we can have those guys. We can't control that. So what can we control? Well, we got to find the best guys we can get, fill out all the positions, bring them together at one time, and then just bust. I'm a guy that I don't look back, and I don't regret. I don't say, "Oh, Cy Young, if we could do this, what happened?" Those are things that are out of your control already. I've learned through my 34 years, you can't coach like that. You can't build a team like that. You got to deal with what's literally right in front of you. And this is what's right in front of us. So we're going to do the best. And having this guy at my back and the whole SBP and the PBA, I know that RSA has come out full bore and said, whatever you need to do, So I feel good about it. I'm excited. I'm excited. I mean, I have great trepidation. I know how good these teams are going to be. We were making jokes after the China game. After we beat China, we were sitting around in the locker room and saying, "Woe to the next coach who has to go to the Asian Games and play China after we beat their butts here in Manila." And then it turns out to be me. Pucha. So I got to figure out, we're going to China. We're going to play against, in their crowd, in their home, and they're going to have something to, a few things to get back at us for. But that's the challenge ahead of us. This is the guy. That's so, I was like, I don't think we can do this, Al. I said that to him yesterday. He's like, but what if we do? What if we do? Imagine, what if we do? Right? You were saying that. And I was like, okay. So I thought I was positive. This guy is off the charts, So, we're going to bring that and do what we can. And as I said, as Chairman said, we're not afraid to fail. We learn from it. We get better from it. So if we fail doing it, we're going to be okay because we know we did it our best. And the guys that we get, we're going to coach the heck out of them, see what we can do.
Coach, quick phone-in question from the colleagues outside of this office. How about the media access daw po, the practices? Will we be allowed to especially with the tight schedule leading up to the Asian Games?
Well, I guess that's something to be decided. I think it depends on the situation. If we're in Inspire camp, I think that's closed door, automatic. We obviously don't want a whole crowd watching our practice. We wouldn't want that, even if they were just fans. But yeah, I think during the Southeast Asian Games, we brought guys in the last 30 minutes of practice and allowed them to watch and observe and then ask. Me, I'm really easy with the press. I like the players to really express their opinions, and I like you guys. I think you guys actually talk too much to the coach and not enough to the players, in my own opinion. I think you should seek out the players because they really know what's going on. The coach kind of always keeps it a rosy kind of thing, but the players know all the inside stories. So, of course, they don't want to spill it out all the time. But I like having the players talk to the press. So, we'll be open as much as possible. And you're right, it is a short window, so we'll have to make some conditions.
Thank you, Coach.
Not conditions, what's the word?
Just call commissioner. Manager Di ba kung okay yung practice? Okay lang. No, I'm just going to tell you one. Kanina lang to, siguro around 2 hours ago before Tim arrived here. He's telling me Al, parang sobrang slim lang chance, mananalo, matatalo din. I'm here coaching. You know what I told him? I told you to coach basketball, not volleyball. So it's going to be okay. Parang, kasi siyempre siya, lahat ng players, ang hirap kumuha. Yung iba wala sa list. Yung iba, ganito. The Japayukis are not here. So, di ba, ang hirap. So he was like, I know he's a fighter. I know, kahit slim chance, lalaban yan. And that's why I told him, ang sabi ko naman sa'yo, ang co-coach mo, basketball, hindi naman volleyball eh. So, kaya-kaya niyang basketball. So, and the only thing, from the management to the SBP to the board, as a friend, we're going to support you 100%, 110%. I'm going to call you every 2 minutes, not 6 minutes.
Coach,
Yes.
the Philippines won 4 golds and 1 silver in the Asian Games. I know SBP in PBA work hands pick the best and the brightest players to banner the Philippines in the Asian Games. So now you had long resume of achievement here in abroad. So how do you foresee the chances of the team tasked to regain lost glory?
Well, going back to 1998, I tell you, I was talking to my daughter about this, and she was like, I remember that after 1998, I always told my family that the only time I ever broke down and really had tears big tears. The first time I ever did that, and the only time I've ever done that, is during the Asian Games. After we beat Kazakhstan for third place and we didn't win the gold, it was that realization that I let everybody down, that we didn't win the gold, and with the relief that it was all over with, and I just broke down. I've never done that with Alaska or Pure Foods or Nebra. I never ever broke down before, and so you know that's just how tough the job is, and you know, you're so invested in what you do when it has to be with the country. You're just really invested, and so that's going to be the challenge. We're going to be playing Bahrain. We're going to be playing Thailand. We're going to be playing Jordan in the opening round. And then we'll probably, I think, cross over with Korea or Japan. And so, you know, that's not an easy schedule, but it's same thing I said with the group that we had in the World Cup. It's doable. You know, it's doable, and but we'll see where it goes. What are our chances? If we're playing the way we want to play, I don't think there's nobody we can't beat. Especially with Justin around. I mean, you know, I have great faith in Justin. Through the years with Ginebra, I know he makes people around him better. And no matter who we surround him with, they're going to play better than what they normally play. So, you know, we're not going to obviously go out there and guarantee a goal, but we have a chance. We're going to go fight for that gold.
Coach, apart from defending champion China, what are the other countries expected to give Gilas Pilipinas a run for their money?
Oh, I think I was telling that we need to form a team, two types of teams. If I again may go back, I know it's a long time ago, but you know, when I was coaching for the Asian Games in 1998, I really felt that we had to beat China. China was the king of Asia at that time. If you remember, you're all too young for this. I'm the only old guy around. But Wang Zhuzhu and Meng Batir, they were really a dominant force in China. So we really concentrated on building the team to beat China. Pero isang problema, one problem only. We forgot about Korea. And Korea came out with a smaller lineup, quicker lineup, and then beat us up on the small lineup. So that's something we don't want to repeat. So we're going to need a big, powerful team to match up with the Middle East and China, and we're going to need a quicker, faster team to match up with Japan and Korea. And that's the idea. I don't want to fall into that trap again of focusing on one team. So China, yes. Korea, Japan, obviously. The Middle Eastern teams, Lebanon, Iran, Jordan, those teams are all going to be tough opponents for us.
There are 45 countries comprise Asia. Are all these countries will take part in basketball? Or do you have an idea how many countries will compete in basketball?
I think it's 16. It's 4 groups of 4, right? I think it's 16 teams.
16 teams?
16 teams. From the Middle East, but no Australia and no New Zealand. So it's the Middle East and West Asia, East Asia, and South Asia.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Hi, Coach. Just one quick question again. You were comparing the 98
I was
team
saying that earlier before you came.
with this team. Obviously, 98 you had a training camp in the U.S.
We had everything. Yeah, we had
so-
4 or 5 months of training that team.
And now you literally have 3 weeks. So
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So can you just talk about the contrast there and what would be your first goal with your new team?
Well, you know, we're going to really focus, number one, on, you know, just my style and our Ginebra style. We're going to be focused on ball movement. We're going to make sure the ball moves. That's going to be really crucial for us. And we're going to be very defensive oriented. I think that's going to be our edge in the Asian Games. We're not going to go out and outscore a Korean team or Japan during the World Cup was scoring big points. They were scoring a lot, and we can't go out and try to outscore them. Maybe if we had our original, you know, World Cup team, we'd be a little bit more offensive oriented, but with this team that we're building, we're really looking for guys who are two-way players. You know, they can do some damage on the offense, but also be great defenders. We don't want one-way players. It's just going to be total offense. And that's something we're going to try to build, is great team defense and ball movement. Ball movement's going to be crucial to us, and hopefully we shoot well along the way. You know, we got shooters so far, and Pogoy and Justin, Calvin Oftana. Some of these guys are all good shooters, and we're looking for others as well.
Thank you, Coach.
Listed out, still left out a few.
Coach, good afternoon. Philip here. Just going to talk about L.A. Tenorio, a very well-respected player now in your bench. Could you talk about having him now as an assistant coach for the team?
Well, LA just finished his last treatment, and he has another. He's going to miss a couple of days. I think 18th and 19th. He's going to be going back to Singapore for a couple of days, but he'll be with us full time. In the meantime, while he's with us as a coach, he's going to continue to work out as a player. He wants to become a practice player with the national team, and just to keep himself getting ready for the conference. So LA has a whole plan. If you know LA, his life is like a plan. He has something planned all the way. So he's real excited to work with the players. He's had that great experience of playing in Asian games, playing the World Cups. He knows the international game well. And I think it's a really great fit for him and for us to have him. Guy, he can talk to the players and share his experiences. And there's nobody who fights more than LA. He's a fighter. He's feisty. And hopefully he'll be able to turn our guards into playing like him. He's going to be a great addition.
Thank you, Coach.
LA's an inspiration off and on the court. You basically know his story. No, I just said LA is an inspiration on and off the court.
For Coach Al or Coach Tim, did you ever consider sending a PBA team na lang po due to the lack of time to prepare? Para they're more familiar with the system. I think before today there were also reports that a specific team was going to be sent, but did you ever consider that?
We can do that. But for me, if you're going to send one team in the PBA, parang wala na kaming effort. Para kami din nagpakahirap like the SBP or us. Sige na, padala na tayo ng isang team dyan para tapos na. Wag naman ganon. It seems that after the World Cup, papasa lang natin sa iba. So, and me, the five of us, Commissioner, Chairman Ricky, President Al, Vice Chairman Bobby, after the World Cup, the day or 2 days lang, we set a meeting right away to help the national team. Again, we can pass it na lang kung pasa ko sa terra firma, sabihin ko sa inyo, kayo na, para ganun na lang, di ba? But, this is gonna be hard, especially for Tim, because of the time, the player selection, everything. But, kami lang positive kami. We keep on. I don't need to push this guy because he's a fighter since before. Kahit walang player yan. Even though we're up by, my experience, up by 20-something, and then he's going to put up some players that, it's not in the roster, in yung first five or ganyan. He wants them to run the play. Run the offense and defense. Ganun siya ka-disciplined eh. Di ba kung iba yan, sige, tira na lang kayo, no? But it's different. So, I told him, till the opening day of this Asian Games, I guess we're not gonna sleep. Kaming dalawa. Kasi we call like midnight. I'm gonna call him like 5:30 in the morning.
This guy gets up at 3:30, 4 o'clock every morning to work out. I get a text I wake up with a text at 4:25. Are you awake?
So, no, I'm excited at the same time. Wala nang gagawang iba kundi kami na lang. I'm thanking the PBA and of course the governors that working hand in hand. I know Chairman Ricky is really busy and may tokayo, Al. But I asked Chairman Ricky, I'm texting him 6:30 in the morning. Chair, gising ka na because of this. So please, lahat kayo, pare-pareho tayong Pilipino eh. Isa team Pilipino rito. Kailangan namin kayo dito. Kailangan namin kayo dito. It's not World Cup, but we're bringing the flag. And mahirap o hindi mahirap, basta lalaban kami. Yun lang.
Coach, Sir Al, was Coach Tim Con the only person considered for the Asian Games?
Sandali. Kwento ko lang. Nag-set ako ng dinner sa Diamond Hotel. So I asked my boss, sabi ng boss ko, si Boss RSA, sabi mo, sige, doon kayo mag-meeting sa lounge. So we went to Diamond Hotel sa Makati. Yung dalawang yan, sabay dumating. Hindi pa nakakaupo. Okay? Sorry, but I have to, naglalakad yung dalawa. Hindi pa nakakaupo. Paupo pa lang. Si Tim Con gusto namin. Yun ang kagad sinabi. Chairman, ikaw, kwento mo yung version mo.
Sabi ko, hello, itong magandang part nung sinabi ko si Tim Con, then he kept on saying it's hard because Tim already said no, friends. If it is not Tim Con, the only coach that I know that we would be happy with is you. Al Francis. No, let me pick up the phone. I will call Tim Con.
Hindi, totoo ang kwento yun. I mean, you always talk about continuity. Tim was there. World Cup, training up to it and everything. Of course, sabi nga ni Tim, might not be the same players, but he's been there and he's a winningest coach of the PBA. So, I mean, there's no doubt. In fact, yung unang bang kwento, sinabi, nag-no na eh. Si Tim, he said no, right? Sabi namin ni Chairman Ricky, kaya na ni Tokayo yan. Especially kung may blessing pa ni RSA, which we had.
Yeah.
That was the Monday meeting. That was what we talked about that Monday meeting.
Hello. Ito nakakatawa. So, si Tim, I called my boss. They were there, the five of us. I called Boss RSA.
Tim didn't know we were there.
Yeah. I called Boss RSA and I said, we picked if Coach Tim can coach. Alam mo sabi ni RSA? Tell him to coach para sa bayan. Yan, buhay silang dalawa. Kaming lima. Para sa bayan to. Gawin niya. Tell him. I said, gawin niya.
Call of duty.
Oh, Call of Duty.
Sabi ni RSA, Call of Duty.
You can say no to a lot of people, but I tell you what, you can't say no to RSA. You just don't say no to RSA. And the way he asks is just too special. Special man.
Coach Tim, any pressure from your end to be the head coach of Gilas Pilipinas? I know Coach Chot described his latest World Cup stint. It was brutal.
Yeah, I mean, you just want to put your best foot forward for the country. That's whenever you do something you always want to put your best team out there, your best foot forward. Hopefully, everybody plays their best, and so there's that constant pressure to put that best foot forward in. And like I said, in 1998, I'd never, coaching the national team and having all that prep time and everything, and still coming up short was. I can't even think of a word. Debilitating. I don't know. It was a terrible feeling coming up short, and it's going to be the same. I know. I don't take losing well. I think that's why I try to win so hard. Because I just hate losing, so it's going to be hard. I know that, and I know I'm not going to always be the universal choice of everybody. There's a lot of candidates out there. But the bottom line is, in my opinion, I'm here. These are the things, the obstacles we have to overcome. again, it's like what's right in front of me, and that's what we're going to deal with. So that's how I try to keep the pressure off me, by continually looking forward and not looking back. So, and I was there for every moment that Chot said it was brutal, and it was brutal. It really was. And I tip my cap to Chot for handling all that with the grace that he did. I don't know if I could have done any better. I don't think I could have. He was amazing in that regard.
If I may share, this I got from Tim. One of the dugout conversations we had during this World Cups, Tim. And I guess the pressure to win and all of that, he said, maybe the best thing to say is not to win, but to be the best that we can be at any game. And then see what the result will be. And I think that's the mindset I think that Tim brings. Let's just play the best. Bahala na. Diba?
Last question. Meron ba? Wala na? Okay, last. Okay. Last two. What is your okay?
To me, there's only one thing you worry about, and I mean, you have the big picture and you have the picture right in front of you. The picture right in front of you is dealing what we do on Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Work the best you can at that point, and the winning and the losing will take care of itself. It's just that, number one. But the big picture is the gold medal. You're not going to go there looking for the silver or the bronze or nothing. You have one intent in mind. It's just like when we're in the PBA. We're worried about the process to get there, but the only thing that's going to satisfy us is winning a championship. Not going to the finals, not going to the semifinals. And there's no guarantee that you're going to get there, but there's only one thing we're thinking about, and that's gold medal. There's nothing else. But it's about the day-to-day process that's going to get us there that's important for us right now. Gold medal isn't important now, but the process is.
Coach Tim, just a follow-up on the lineup. With the strong involvement of Mr. RSA and Gov Al, does this mean that it's the Gilas team in the Asian Games will be an all San Miguel team, or all players, including the MVP group, are also?
We're going to take the best available player we can get from whomever is out there. That's a guarantee. We're not favoring anybody. In fact, right now, I think we're pretty much split right down the middle between that. But we're also looking at other teams, and I just don't want to name all the players because we're still trying to get guys in and out of that big list. And we don't want to get in the way of that process yet. So we don't want to disappoint people and say, oh, we expect you to play, and then suddenly we can't play them. So we're just want to make sure that list is complete and set before we release it. But like I said, the usual suspects will be there. I don't think you'll be surprised by anybody that's there once you take a look around.
Saka sabi mo, di ba, baka puro San Miguel. Dati yun eh. Kung sino umawak, puro MVP, puro San Miguel. My boss and MVP, they're partners now. So, ang maganda rito sa magko-coach team, yung dalawang big boss nakasuporta sa likod niya. And that's kaya nabuboost namin siya. So, wala. Kahit sinong player na available na makukuha namin, we'll get him. But, hindi na kami, yung napag-usapan namin dalawa, hindi kami gagawa ng pool. We gonna get that 12 players to play. Yun. Okay na kami.
Pwede ito, isa lang. This is the Filipino team. This is the Philippine team. It's not San Miguel or Token Tex. They are enablers. We're happy to have enablers who can help us put this team together. But this is the Filipino team. And this team is for everyone that loves basketball. So all we ask for is that everybody who loves basketball supports this team. Not just by winning, but also recognizing the effort that has been done so far. And these guys, they're not losers. They're not afraid. They're going to war thinking that we're putting them to fight a war, right? And they're faced with a team, a country that has all the armory that they can have. But they're saying, no, we're going to go out there and fight, okay? Because we're ready to go to war with what we have. So this is the Filipino team. This is the Philippine team. This is Gilas Pilipinas. Okay? Write about that.
On that note, maraming salamat sa inyo. Magandang hapon.